Beautiful. So yes, today we are talking about turning fear into power. And while we are waiting for people, Paola and Tresina, I want to ask you, what does it bring you? What does it bring you as insights, this topic, and what does it represent in your life? Like, so, for example, fear and power. What are your challenges? And again, remember, this session is recorded, so feel free to share whatever you feel is okay to be heard.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start, Paula. Go for
I was
it.
waiting for Tracy. She had
Yeah,
just
you go ahead,
unmuted.
Paula. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, God. So I think get my brain in order.
Mhm.
I guess power is something that I've been quite fearful of over time, just over time. And I think fear is also huge. I don't like to think about it. I think I'm quite a courageous person, but there are a few things that I'm fearful about. And especially if I think about something that might feel a bit too like it's a powerful thing to do, or I think it's more than what I should, more than I feel comfortable doing, it becomes something that I'm really fearful of.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
makes sense.
totally, totally. Yeah. And what about you, Tresina? Let's make this session interactive because you don't need a boring presentation. There will be a presentation, but hopefully it won't be boring for you. What about you, Tresina?
Yeah, power. I've always felt like my voice isn't I'm unworthy of having a voice. I'm inadequate. And anything that I will say is going to get discredited. This is in like family dynamics, work dynamics, and it all relates back to sort of like my childhood and school and not kind of being out there. Um, and it's kind of happening in like my marriage as well. But lately, I mean, I had quite a heavy trauma over COVID, and but since then, I don't know. There seems to be some sort of reset
Yeah.
and shift, and my authentic. I cannot censor my authenticity, and through that, I have found my voice. But I'm quite symptomatic of like in my maybe like my throat chakra or something. There's still a blockage, so I'm experiencing sort of how to navigate
Yeah.
having conviction in my voice, having conviction in my authenticity, and not having to feel like I need to justify or validate myself. So the fear around that, sort of like
Yeah.
the fear around
Yeah.
offending, upsetting people as an inherent people pleaser, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And I love, it brings me shiver because I connect with my guide. For for you girls, thank you so much for sharing your experience. But for you who don't know me, so I'm like a psychic medium, spiritual life coach, Reiki master, and I use all these tools to help with like turning fear into power between any between topics. There are many topics I help people with. And you highlighted already like really important things. So let me go to the next slide. So why fear shows up on the personal, spiritual, and business path. So as you highlighted, Tristina, there are like these things around like family, an ancestor we inherited. So it is something that doesn't necessarily come from our energy, but it is like, for example, fear of like validation or scarcity. It is something that can be inherited. And as you mentioned, some of you mentioned like visibility, failure, judgment, not being good enough. And that's interesting because I have like hundreds of clients all over the world. They have exactly the same fears, and especially women. So that I found it really interesting. And this is something that you can shift very much. Also, Tresina, you highlighted about like you've been able to experience a shift lately, but you don't know how to catch up with it. And this is we need to realize that there is a lot of energy changes that are happening in the world. So that's why a lot of people are going through a spiritual awakening. But spiritual awakening means we are changing, we are ascending at a soul level, but also it brings all the fear to the surface. So, but for us to debunk them, I like to tell the stories that so I worked for in tech for 12 years, and I had all these fears. I was experiencing burnout, and then I transitioned to holistic. And even in creating this business in holistic, I had all these fears coming through, but one after the other, I went through them, and that's how now I feel free, you know. So I always have like little triggers, but it is like fears are coming to us more because we are, as we say, like on the edge of transformation. It's like when we approach fear as something as to transform, to turn into power, then it becomes like more like opportunities. But it's normal that most of people, they have the fear of like being stepping into the unknown. So when we have a fear, instead of feeling like what I was doing, what I was feeling in tech, like, oh, I'm an anxious person, or I'm depressed, or whatever, it is like, what, what is my body, what is my mind telling me as a message instead of pushing away? Because the more we push away, the more we tend to explode. So, what does it inspire you? This topic, this slide, and feel free to talk. You don't need me to point out at your names.
Um, are you asking us, sorry, or
There you go. There
what
you go.
anything?
Yeah. So when you hear this, that actually when fear come up, it's more like a signal from our inner child or like this part of us who ask us to pay attention rather than what we kind of um, uh, what we think often like, oh, it's annoying, but actually it's like it's a pay attention to me. So what does it inspire you hearing this about fear?
Yeah, I guess for me, it's like that a sort of like a drive, a kickstart, or a motivation.
Yeah.
It highlights something that needs transformation,
Yeah.
or yeah, that that requires transformation, really.
Yeah. And Tresina, for you, is it like feels like a driver, an opportunity, or are you more like frozen when it appears, this fear?
Ugh. But it's quite polar,
It's 12
depending on
years,
the
by the way.
situation. Um, if it's something that's deeply triggers me,
Yeah,
um, and I cannot regulate in that moment, it's an automatic explosion,
yeah, yeah,
really. And it tends to, because it's a trigger, I'm sort of talking on negative, but it could, I guess it could also be something positive.
absolutely.
In certain situations where it involves certain other dynamics, or particularly around offending people,
Yeah,
people pleasing, or upsetting someone,
yeah,
I still very much go into fawn freeze, and
yeah,
um, it's still very, yeah, it comes from a very conditioned place rather than how I want to say. Yeah, I've held back on several things
yeah,
in the fear of hurting,
yeah,
upsetting, or having a conflict or confrontation with someone I care about,
yeah.
or groups of people I care about, groups of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good point. And that leads me to as a question, girls, are do you recognize what is the difference between fear and intuition? You know, when it pops in, because we have two voices. We have our like the intuition that is more like the gently nudge, and it can bring us to our out of comfort zone, but it's more a feeling, while fear is like freezing you, it's chaotic. Intuition, it puts your body more like in a calm zone. So it's super important to try to know how what to differentiate and have some techniques to see like, is it fears are telling me to stop, or actually is it my intuition telling me to stop or to go somewhere else? So how is it for you to recognize your fear and your intuition?
Um, that resonates with me. I think I definitely, oh, hi, Tristina. To your face now. I can definitely see the difference. So I get the worrying stuff, but I also have the thing. And sometimes I get something in my gut, which is like it might not feel good necessarily. Sometimes it's like it's very neutral, But there's oftentimes I get something in my gut that still doesn't feel good, but I know is intuition, but it's very different from fear.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's amazing because a lot of people, it's very difficult for them. So it shows also, Paola, and congratulate yourself that you're also very connected to your body. And even if you feel fear and you're frozen, etc., you still are able to connect to your body and check in and be like, is it my intuition or is it my fear? And
Mm.
what about you, Tresina?
Yeah, it's quite similar to Paula actually.
Mhm.
Um, I I know fear because I'm quite aware of the sort of physical symptoms of my fear. I go into a freeze and palpitations. It feels a bit like I cannot rationalize.
Yeah,
Intuition, I can sense. I genuinely, I don't know, I can't pinpoint it.
yeah.
I know my intuition,
Yeah,
separate from, yeah, I just know. It's
yeah,
really hard to describe. It's so, it just feels right without any sort of explanation.
exactly. And you don't need to be a psychic medium, but always say everyone is psychic, and and that's why I do psychic coaching to help people to reconnect with their intuition and their psychic ability. Sorry about that. Because we just know uh, like um like seeing for example in January I just knew it looks very spiritual cliche. I just knew I needed to go Goa. And then people were like, but why are you going to go? I like, I just know I need to go. And like, but you have a plan. I'm like, no, I don't have a plan, but I just know I will have a plan when I go there. And that's also why I shifted all my life from corporate to um, to holistic because I knew, and I'm not saying you should shift your life. By the way, what do you do as a job, girls? Go for it.
I'll go for, yeah, I work for the NHS for an NHS trust. I'm a program manager.
Beautiful. Yeah, well, I was a product manager, so I totally understand your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what about you, Paula?
Social work. I'm on a career, thank you. I'm on a career break that's just ending up,
Yeah,
but I want to go into something different
yeah,
beyond social work.
yeah. Well, a lot of people. Well, I was training NHS psychiatrist yesterday to Reiki level 1. And a lot of people are coming to me because they are in this like purpose transition. And so this is where like your intuition is so important because like NHS Tresina, she has a lot of work like da da da, sometime organizational chaos, politics, etc. And it's like, okay, tuning in, am I making this decision out of my intuition or out of my fear? And sometimes just having a breather, and taking some time and not jumping into the first thing can help. And Paola, career transition, of course, is going to bring all this fear of like, what am I doing? The unknown and money and you know. And that's also why people come to me like, okay, how do I deal with this fear and how do I know the way? But we have, and I'm sure we'll have time to do this. We have the ability to tune into our intuition in order to download the information. So yes, our fears is like, oh my God, I'm feeling unsafe. We can, go back to the body, meet these parts, and I know you girls, you know how to do this. So, but meet these parts, like close your eyes. Let's do a little exercise. So take some deep breaths. And I want you to connect to your body and think about one of like the fear you have. You don't have to tell me, like stay silent for now. Scan your body, tell me where it is, or think about what it is, where it is, if it's in your heart. Tune into the message, ask for the message. What is the message you're bringing me? And now when you hear potentially this fearful voice that you can call like your inner child, or even like, when we talk about internal family system, we have so many different parts. I want you to tend to this part and talk to her and reassure her, telling her, hey, it's going to be okay. Yes, I'm not sure what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to find a way. I'm going to be guided. Like just being in school right now is like, oh wow, we connect on with lovely human being on the same frequency. I'm not alone. All these things, and start noticing this part, starting to relax. And maybe sometimes it takes a bit of time because they're like, no, no, I don't want, but it's okay. Be like being patient, being like a child or a little puppy, and feel your body starting to relax as well. And you can see that just with this simple yet super powerful exercise, you can see that you have all the answers inside of you. So people who are like, yeah, Paula, do this, do that, Tracina, no, you do. Like, let's stop the noise, let's go inside and just asking. And even when the answer doesn't come through, then you can have some tools, like take an oracle card, open a book and look at what is the first phrase. You can decode messages. So take some deep breaths, going back to your body. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes. So obviously it's a crash course because we have a few things to cover in 1 hour. But how was your experience, girls? And that's good that we are a small group because like this I can really interact with you. So whoever wants to talk first.
I don't mind.
Go for it, Christina.
Mine's to do with a a situation and colleagues who are already it's quite toxic. Who are all kind of waiting for me to slip up
Yeah.
so that they can pin, even though I've got a lot to say and I'm successful, and the 99.9% of my colleagues really appreciate me and give me credit. There's these two that looking for me to slip up or looking for me to find a weakness
Yeah.
in what I know. And my imposter syndrome is just flaring. So when I closed my eyes, I don't know why, I just immediately saw this tiger, and I don't know if that just came from
Yes.
imagination or if it was
Oh
part,
no. So
but it was a
let's
vicious
pause
tiger
here.
staring at me.
Yeah.
And then as you were going through the journey, I was and I felt it in my hand.
Mm,
It's
Reiki.
unusual. I wasn't
Yes.
expecting. And I felt it in my sort of chest, like here maybe. And then I sort of, as a little girl, I sort of shrunk back. But immediately as I went back, the tiger was going back anyway, like
Yeah.
going back into its cage.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's because I'm reading the Tiger Who Came to Tea for my son.
Amazing book. No, and also because you're third eye, and I can tell you because I feel energy and psychic, etc. You're very psychic as well. So it's like symbolism, but also messages. And you can be the tiger, but in the tiger, like in a powerful, grounded way. Thank you so much. And look at how it's even if it's like a few seconds, it has a massive shift. And what about you, Paola?
Um, it's interesting because I felt the fear where I didn't expect to. It's literally down my arms. You know, like when your hair stand on end.
Yeah.
That's where I
This
felt
is
it.
the left side, left side.
Both sides, they just both were like, "Nyeh." Like a bit like static electricity. And then I could feel it in my gut, a bit like wanting to be sick.
Yeah.
And it went up into my heart a bit as well. It's just not a very nice feeling. But yeah, after just breathing, I could feel my body relax. So it dissipated
Yeah.
once we, you know, when I
So
said it'd be okay.
yeah, and look, and that's the thing is when we start knowing how to shift our energy instead of feeling anxious for days and depressed, then we can literally shift it much better. And by the way, we're going to do some Reiki as well by the end of the call, so it's going to be nice for you, and it will help you to integrate all of this. Also, what is interesting, what you said, Paula, is at some point, so it started with your stomach. So, in terms of chakra perspective, that's your sacral chakra, which is a representation of safety, relationship, and it's normal. You're in transition. You're like, shit, what am I doing? Sorry for. And then the heart, which is, love, forgiveness, and, like this feeling of recognition. So it's your body is such a amazing map. And that's what, when I started to apply these things to me, it's like, oh my God, my body is talking to me so much. And Tresina, I can see that you have all the language of trauma and that you're super trained on this, you know. So it's incredible to use, like, you know, like psychotherapy, energy, intuition, spirituality, to have this holistic understanding. So well done. Well done. You did really well. So yeah, like the tools to shift from stuckness to soul aligned action is, you know, like for example, when I have a fear, so at the moment, one of my big fear is, unfortunately, I have an uncle who is at the hospital, is going to be hospitalized, have like something, an operation on the brain. I have no news. Like, so I started to spiral down yesterday, like being like, shit, what's going to happen? And then I was like, you know, of course it is terrible, but right now I am afraid of the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen, you know? And then there was something beautiful. I saw a number on my screen and I typed the angel number, and then they were like, you are protected, you are guided. And I'm like, okay, you know, like it's fine, you know, it's fine. And it helped me. It helped me to go back. So when the fear is like, Paula, you will never find a job and you will never find your purpose. Tresina, or your colleagues are going to destroy your reputation. Or you're going to lose all your loved one. It's like, but is it really true? You know, like, and what is a worst case scenario? Like, it's, and often by challenging this idea and say, and what is it has a great income? What about having this career transition finally help me to find a job that really resonates with me and actually gives me more abundance because I feel happier? And what about these colleagues are actually my spiritual teachers, and it helps me to remind me that I don't need anyone's validation because they don't know me, and maybe also I'm projecting, you know. So it's all this thing. I have I have my mom who's sometimes quite very good at giving her point of view when she's not asked. And now I'm like, I see her as my spiritual teacher, and I really stay in my body, and I'm like, how am I reacting? Am I triggered? Like, yeah, I'm a bit triggered. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I see her, and I'm like, she's in her world, she's in her belief system, and she's really trying to protect me in some way. But also boundaries of like, thank you for your advice, but I don't need it. Or I respect your opinion, but it's not mine, So it's like kind of breaking this down. And also, like, really, what really helped me is really see that I didn't need to control everything, and that things will come to me. Have this real trust of, like, whatever you call it, universe, God. Ask for help. We have free will, so we need to ask for help. So Paula is like, guys, give me a sign. Okay, go to this webinar. Okay, cool. Tracy and I, guys, give me a sign. Oh, you just resigned. Oh, fine. Okay, it's like, you see? So, so we don't need to be perfect, but it's like, what can help me to really have a reality check and go back to my power? So what does it inspire you, girl? What I just say? And if it doesn't inspire you anything, that's great as well.
Oh, go on, Tristina. Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, for me, it inspires me to just sort of have that trust. Um, like you said, I feel I end up catastrophizing,
Yeah.
and I know that comes from having real intensely chronically shocking situations that I was
Yeah.
not really expecting.
Yeah.
And I feel that it's just like I said, it's a reset
Mm.
of my brain. But now I even I don't know. I just have this trusting now, and since just even now, you just validated me when I've always felt that I've got an intuition, but I never really thought or termed it in any way as psychic. But even for you to say that, or that means $1 million to me.
Yeah,
Honestly, that just completely lifted me up
yeah, yeah,
because now I can take that and actually trust my intuition rather than doubt it or just kind of write it off as woo woo.
yeah, yeah,
Half of
absolutely.
me is like, oh, it's woo woo,
And
but
it's
then half of me is like, it feels so right.
yes, absolutely. And again, be compassionate with yourself because it's not your fault. We have been, sorry for the word, brainwashed and thinking that intuition or whatever was who. But when you disconnect people from their power, it's much easier to ask them to do what you want. This is our power, this is our right. And I'm not a French Revolution, but I'm like telling you, it is our birthright. And look, I'm not dressed like a hippie. You can continue your, and even if I was, why not? But you can continue your own life and reconnect with your intuition. And sometimes it's difficult, and that's why just train a bit. And I'm not saying that to sell you anything, but just to uncover something is sometimes it takes a bit of time, and it's okay. But yeah, having this validation is very important. And also, Tracy, I really feel for you, and I'm a bit in psychic reading right now because like I can feel there is a lot of intensity energetically in the work that you're doing, and this on top of your sensitivity, you're feeling everyone's stuff. So it is overwhelming. So learning how to protect your energy, how to trust your intuition, and also putting some boundaries. And this catastrophizing things is, I was the first one to catastrophize and send a bloody email I shouldn't have sent. Like, no, is like, it's because you don't feel grounded. If you're like too much focus on people's, opinion, and it's normal. Again, we haven't been educated like this, so it's not your fault. It's not your fault. So it's having also this validation and not to make you feel good because that's the reality. And what about you, Paula?
I was just thinking it's in I have a trust issue as well, but not it's like in the moment because I obviously trusted I get messages in different ways. And for example, when it was time for me to leave my job, I think I got a load of messages that I needed to move on, and I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I trusted that somehow a way was going to come through. So I say that, but then when it comes to, I'm like, okay, I trust in the future that this is going to happen. But then when I'm in that moment, when it's right there, I'm like, shit, shit, shit. What's going to happen? It's funny because every single time in my life, every single time something is, I've never been left destitute. I've never been left without
Yeah,
anything, but I still have that moment of shit.
yeah,
And also a moment, I guess, of trusting that what I feel and what I've received is what's going to happen because I can speak to other people and they will come with their views and their ideas. For example, with this situation, my dad was like, are you sure you really want to do that? Is that safe? Is that sensible? So you get those and you get those messages from everybody.
mm,
Um, so there's something about keeping faith and trust
mm.
in what I feel I need to do and not letting other people's voices
Yeah.
and opinions come through and shift it.
Wow. Yeah, I love it. And again, I can totally relate to this because when I was in technology and I was managing, lots of teams, and everyone will come to me with a different opinion. And because I was empathetic and not very grounded, I'd be like, oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. And I was like, oh my God, it's like, and I'm like, how can I be a leader? I'm like so influenced and I'm weak and whatever. But the thing is, it's different. So it's understanding that when people come to advice and opinion, like my mom or your dad, is they come with their little glasses, goggle, based on their experience. So, for example, my mom, when I launched this business, she was like, oh my God, my Parisian daughter wants to be a psychic medium. She's going to be burnt on the stake and don't use my name and your name. So I was like, it's fine. And then when I had like 117 five-star reviews on Google. She's like, oh yes, I always knew that, like writing a story back. And I love you, ma'am. But it's like just saying people come out of protection, but there it's not necessarily the right advice for you. And everyone's path is different. So, Paula, no one can really tell you what to do. I mean, a psychic medium can give you nudges, etc., and information, but ultimately you have to check your body. And that's why I always tell people, like, always maintain your power, because no psychic medium or coach or whatever spiritual guru, and have the right to tell you your truth. You have to check in and say, does it resonate with me? And if it's not, you don't take it as truth, whatever. Oh, she's famous or whatever. Don't give a shit. So when you receive the advice from your dad, Paula, really stay embodied and feel like your guts, because you're so good at reading your guts. Be like, does it feel right? No. So maybe it's going to activate your fear of scarcity and be like, oh yeah, I noticed that it's my fears of scarcity. Or Tracina with your colleagues, like, oh yeah, so it's mindfulness. I noticed that I'm starting to have this fear of the imposter kicking in. And yes, I have the choice to tell that my colleagues are toxic, that probably they are, or they are lost, or whatever, or to be like, how can I work on myself so I'm not triggered anymore? And I see that whatever their opinion, they might be in a very unhappy place to be like that, but it's not my problem in some ways. Or again, they are my spiritual teachers. So let's see what's next. So yeah, energy technique to ground, clear, and transmute fear. So again, like what really helped me is, like, let's say Tracina's situation with our colleagues, or even you, Paula, with your dad. And I'm sure you know these techniques. Is like, for example, you can visualize like a mirror, and it works. It's not just like, oh, it's nice. No, you visualize a mirror or a shield. You can also, put your hands here, because the solar plexus and the sacral are like where the energy, like feeling of safety. So just close your eyes and close your arms. So it closes your energetic field. So that's why when people fight, often unconsciously they're like that, because they're protecting themselves. So when you are in a situation with your colleague, tracing up, "Ah, yes, da 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 da," and in your mind, mirror, shield, armor. Um, and once you've had this trigger, and I know that you might know that already, apply the tools that helps you to ground. So for me, one of my favorite tools is like having a shower, like water, and like, okay, release the energy. Or do self Reiki on me, or have a massage, or say, call someone and say, okay, give me Reiki. Go to yoga, dance, blah, 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 or even sing. So there are lots of techniques. And breath work, etc. So what are your technique, girls, to help you go back into this like alignment? Go for it, Paula. Take the space. Come on, you can
Yeah.
do it.
Hell of you. Dancing's one of them. Although I hate dancing in front of people, I can dance in my room. That's fine. But that helps shake things off. And then I often, if it feels like things are really getting to me, I'll have a salt bath as well
Yeah,
and do the energy that way. Um, and I try and do what you said in terms of just covering your belly. I do that without thinking about it. I
yeah,
often do that. But also what I try and do each morning is do the white light protection.
very,
Try and visualize that before I go out. Try
very,
my best. Yeah,
yes,
that's mine.
excellent. Well done, Tracy.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm learning a few things. I'll try that white light thing, actually. Yeah, I think I naturally feel like I need to protect myself with like clothing. Weirdly enough, I try and do the breathing, but I'm a very shallow breather as
Mhm.
well. Other things I do to protect myself. I don't do it very well.
It's okay. We are all
So I need space, but because I think with the way I'm wired, it takes me time to process things, and I'm quite compartmentalized.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I need to go and have some space in solitude.
Yeah.
But then I think some people don't react negative. I think that's got a bad rap, having solitude or having quiet time, not
Mm.
reacting. Because you're trying to ground yourself, but then people think you're being dismissive or ignoring them. But for me, it takes time to process things, so I need to step away from that situation.
So that's a good one, Tresina, because again, when we are empathetic and when we feel everything, you need time to recharge. You need time to. For me, you put me in Oxford Street at peak time. That's the best way to kill me. You know, if you want to kill me one day, girls, just do that. It's very easy. It takes 5 minutes. Um, but so, Tresina, to to solve your situation, is it can be communication. You know, you say, "Hey guys, yeah, I feel like I need like to ground a bit. So I'll come back in 10 minutes, okay?" Because it's true that from an external perspective, Tresina is like leaving the meeting room, or I exaggerate. It's like, what's happening? You know, she's running away. But if you say, like, "Oh, right now I feel like I need to ground," you know, and you again, it's not even personal, then they will understand. You know what I mean? And for me, like I was having dinner with a friend last night, and he was like, "Oh, let's go." No, no, no. It was 10 p.m. And I'm like, you know what? I am a grandma. I love being in my bed at 10 p.m. And this is how I protect my energy. And like, no, just go for a drink. And I'm like, no. And before it will be like, it was really difficult for me. But I know that also a good thing, and it's also about energy, is when you make decision, how to avoid to be a leaky bucket of energy, is you when you make a decision and you're not sure, when you're indecisive, you ask yourself, am I making the decision for me or am I making the decision for them? And we need to be, the word is not selfish. We need to be like focusing on our needs in order to have a full cup and be there for people. So I knew that before I was very, very much a people pleaser. I can still be. Um, but because I will take 95% of the decision in my life for people in order to feel like I was a good person, while in reality, I was just looking for validation and be like, oh, I want to be loved and accepted. But at the end, I was feeling resentful and disconnected from myself. You know, so that's this kind of thing that disconnect us from ourselves.
Aud, I have a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
The first one sort of going of rewinding back to when we were talking about um, us human we're conditioned to not feel our intuition, conditioned not to listen to it. How come some of us are so much more still connected to our intuition, and there's some people that are really not
Yeah, yeah.
like they're really not not empathetic. They can disconnect. They, there's some people that just don't. They care about just their own wall and not anyone else.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm just like, how is it the polar opposite? And
yeah.
it could be people in your own like circles,
Oh,
family,
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
your immediate family that are just completely opposite to you.
yeah. So, well, often light workers like you girls are born in a family surrounded with people that might not be that connected, so that it's a prompt for you to wake up or to step into your purpose. Because unfortunately, human beings need a bit of friction. Like, pull on, go there, go there, you know? Old burning out in tech. I tell you to go there. But you want to keep burning out. So unfortunately, human beings are a bit lazy sometimes, and pain, friction helps us to go there, you know. But also, from my understanding, is like everyone has different level of consciousness. Everyone, so some are young soul, some are old soul, some really have, and I tell you girls, like your purpose is really like to connect with people, to bring light, to, you know, just coming to this webinar is this intuitive match, energetic match. And some people, I mean, it might sound weird, but it feels like there is no soul. You know, it's like nearly like some kind of matrix representation. And yeah, they will never have any sign of consciousness. But anyway, so I don't want to create like too much. too much debate on this one. But to your question, Tresina, is everyone is on their own journey as well, you know. So if you expect, and that's the thing, if you expect people to have your same level of consciousness and sensitivity, one, you're going to lose a lot of energy because you're not going to get what you want. And two, you are not focusing on the right thing. Same, I wanted to help people in while not being asked, you know, change them, no, 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 and you know, wake them up. But one, people don't like this, and two, it's not respecting their boundaries either. So it's better to work on ourselves and attract beautiful people like you girls who are like resonating with the same messages and the same consciousness, and then expand it, you know. And there is something so soothing to have, you know, like just hearing each other's fear and be like, oh, I'm not the only one. You know, it starts debunking like this massive, like scary stuff. It looks like a monster, with the fear, but it's a little kitty cat. It's a kitty cat, you know? And it's like, oh yeah, Tracina has it and me too. And you know, we can shift that. Does it answer your question, Tracina?
Yeah, definitely. And sorry, just on top of that is this again where you mentioned there's a big shift um on globally as well.
Yeah.
Because to me that's really resonating because I know if I didn't go through the big trauma that I had, it was basically I had my son naturally after being told I couldn't have my son, like a baby.
Wow.
And I kept trying, and I actually believe that I manifested him through visualization.
Yeah.
Anyway, then 3 months after he was born, because he was born in COVID, the sort of carpet was completely, and I was elated. The carpet was swept under my feet because I found a lump in my breast, and it turned out to be cancer. Thankfully, it was early stages, but I still went through a year of treatment and everything. And that was like this major reset. And I thought I already had big life traumas with my mum being a chronic alcoholic and the infertility and miscarriages, etc. But this just wiped me, and I felt immediately. Then my dad became ill, and thankfully he recovered. It was just all at once.
Mm-mm-mm.
Um, and then yeah, and then sort of like during that recovery year, I just felt incredibly intuitive.
Mm.
Um, and like now on a global level with everything going on, and I will mention Palestine, because that to me, if before my cancer diagnosis I probably wouldn't be speaking out as much, but now I just feel so it feels so right. And the people talk about, like, I thought everyone would be enraged, but I can't see any rage except for a small proportion of people being enraged by what's going on.
Mm.
And I feel so isolated in that. I don't know if I would have been so vocal and so impacted by it before my cancer diagnosis, which, by the way, sorry, I am in remission, but yeah, it's just
No,
really
and thank you.
something positively I feel. And
Yeah.
sorry, Paula, I'm just
No, 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 please.
hope it
And girl,
resonates.
is it okay for you to finish the call late because I think we'll go over time, but I think it's interesting and I'm happy to go further. Yeah?
Oh, absolutely, I am.
Good, good. Okay. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing all of this, Tresina. And you know, I totally empathize with you because having these big things happening in our life is horrible, you know. And at the same time, yes, it makes us wake up. And it doesn't mean like you know, it's like, oh, happy to have this, but at the same time, it's like, wow. And there are miracles and there are big things. After I totally relate also with these things with intuition because after my dad died in 2009, I had a massive crash and then my psychic ability started to open, you know. So there are lots of things, and it is thanks to my dad's death that I'm here today, you know. So it's all like this kind of bittersweet things, and also our body telling us things, you know. So you had like cancer with your breast. Breast is all about giving and feminine, and so maybe it meant like you overgive, you know. It's all these messages that come through. And yeah, and for Palestine, I understand as well. And it's sensitive messages because, you know, we don't want to be interpreted as on any sides. But what I'm this stance on it. I think it's, it's beautiful. You speak your voice, and at the same time, it's also remembering what is the impact I want to have in the world, because it's like freedom, but also love. How can I share love? And it's difficult, it's difficult to navigate this. Um, but follow your own guts and like you have your own journey. Everyone is different, but being authentic and feeling like you have this purpose is important. Mm, thank you.
Thank you.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Paula, as well.
No, it's beautiful. And you see, like we are here digitally, but there is so much energy and holding space, So, and also, Trisina, you were mentioning that you were feeling alone, and that's normal in the sense that everyone is going through the illusion and having like circles and people around us. We can see that actually everyone is going through the same and having this beautiful circle, even more like women. That's amazing, where we can share these things and like, yeah, I got you, Trisina. And just this feeling of being seen and validation is like you don't even need anything else, This is so healing by itself. So, yeah. So, how to lead with power even when we feel uncertain? So, it's to remember, like when people see me today, they're like, oh, you're so confident. Honestly, girls, you would have seen me even like 2 or 3 years ago. I wouldn't have the same energy. And it doesn't mean I never doubt. I doubt all the time, but it's just, again, I use this fear or even this anger as like my power. When I feel the fear, like let's say with my uncle, like, you know what? This is bringing me closer to my spiritual faith. I can do it, and this creates this magnetism. Because if we push the fear, if we push the anger away, it just stays stuck in our body. While if we use it even as a dance, and it's like, you know what, I can become like an amazing dragon. So it's one day after time, and no one has it all. We have this like, oh yes, yes, like she's perfect, or putting them on a pedestal. It's not true. It's not true. It's a journey, and that's why also we can be thankful to these bad bosses, these colleagues, this family who can be triggering us because it helps us to be actually myself. My authenticity is there, and it's changing all the time. But yeah. So it's like getting closer to this authenticity. What do I want? What are my needs? Again, not to be selfish, but to be like to radiate your own light. And as you said, look, exactly the right message for you, what you just said, Trisina, speaking your truth, even when your voice shakes. But also, I want, especially, like Palestine and stuff, being mindful of the impact, being mindful of the word we use, because, we want to create more. We want to create more love and more. And again, it's a very difficult topic. And the energetic shift from fear of judgment to devotion to service. So yeah, it's like on this one is, again, like for example, when I was in tech, I was always feeling that I was judged. I was taking things personally all the time. But when you see when that people have their own things, actually you realize that it is one of the biggest illusions in life. And 99% of things that happen in your life from people are not personal because we don't know what's going on in the picture. So if someone snaps at you and say, "Oh, it doesn't like me," but maybe this person is tired, or maybe this doesn't mean that you should accept it. But saying, "Oh, he doesn't like me," is a shortcut. And like the affirmation, and you can choose whatever affirmation is right for you, is I can be powerful and uncertain at the same time. So again, like with like the example with the ankle, I can be scared to death that something is happening to my ankle, but I can still stay in my power. It's okay. We are made of light and darkness. So what does it inspire you, these skills?
Um, this authenticity thing has been coming up for me for years. But the other day I had a realization, literally a couple of weeks ago, gone on a retreat and I'd spent time with all these women and I had a lovely time. And when I came back, actually, even while I was there, I just had a sense of, oh, they don't like me. They don't like me. And then when I looked into it further, it was like, no, I don't like myself, which was really
Mm,
difficult for me to. I was
mm,
like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't like myself. And I realized it's because where I don't like myself is when I feel I'm not being real or authentic to me. And
yes.
that's why I'm like, you're not presenting what you actually are. And this is a journey that I feel like this is not going to be like, oh, tomorrow, tomorrow I'm going to be all of, everything that I want to be, because it's that thing about people pleasing again. I completely resonate with that. And also just being in what you were saying in terms of the workplace, um, I felt like I wasn't able to actually be myself, or everyone was judging me. And so I wasn't able to I felt so frozen. All of these words are coming up again because I didn't feel like I didn't know where to act or what would be acceptable.
Yeah.
So I am gonna go back into work again, unfortunately in the same sector because I need to eat. But I have a real thing about I need to be who I am. And I have a fear about me falling back into, let me just be what I think people think I should be. Because
Yeah.
it's not even what they're saying they think I should be, it's what I think they think.
Yeah.
Making sense.
Makes sense. It can totally make sense, girl, and it totally makes sense. And when you were talking, Paula, I really had my because I feel everything in my body, and don't worry, my like solar plexus and sacral contracted because I can feel your fear. And again, I really empathize with you because when I was working in tech, it was really hard because it's like big machines, you know. It's like yeah, you have like lovely people in there, but it's like all the culture, like the politics. Everyone is wearing a mask, and it's hard. It's hard. And for me, just the idea of going back was like, yeah, freezing. So what I want to tell you on this is and after this call tomorrow, I'll send an email with like discounts and stuff like that. But there are lots of myriads of ways, and of course you need money. You know, you need money to live. But I remember, and I see that with my clients as well. When I was transitioning, I thought it was just tech or nothing. You know, I was very black and white. But the reality is there are so many options. You know, and the most important, girl, is to remember that what is, I mean, of course we all need money, but what is the most important is your mental health and your energy, you know. So if you go back to a place that really, really hurts you, then, you know, of course you need to work on yourself but it's also asking yourself the question, what can I sustain this environment? And if not, what do I need? You know what I mean? Mm? And so that's these like different things. Um, but you know, and also like Paula, you were talking about not being able to be yourself or not allowing yourself to be yourself. So when you were talking psychically, I got, you know, that again, this is something also generational. It's not just you, you know, it's like your family potentially also have been traumatized and racism and all these things. And you know, it's and women stuff. So there is these things you can clear. But also you know, it is so difficult because at least 1 or 2 thirds of my life, I pretended to be someone I was not. And this is soul breaking. This is soul breaking. But there will be a moment, Paula, and you're pretty much there, when you'll have enough. When you'll have enough, and when you will put in the balance the cost of people pleasing chameleon, which takes you a lot of energy and makes you feel disconnected and unhappy, to like well, if I lose them, at the end of the day, they were not meant to be in my life, you know? And this kind of like, what is actually losing people? You know, I was like, oh my God, if I lose a friend, it means I'm not a good friend. No, I lose a friend. It's not meant to be, or it was just supposed to be a short relationship. So again, when we remove the personal, like it's my fault, and be like, no, I trust the process, and it is a process. It's a life process. It's not like, oh yeah, I understood, I apply it. It's like it's a process that some people will come, some people will leave, and in any way, it's more like now I became a bit of an Indiana Jones explorer, and be like, oh, what is the message this person has for me? Instead of like, oh, they stabbed me in the back, or they left, or they came, and like, oh, what is? No, when I meet people, like, oh, why did I meet Paula today? What was the message for me? And so it's kind of bringing curiosity instead of like, ah, they're going to hurt me. So do you see the shift of perspective? And again, it's like moment by moment. Yeah. So yeah, so I think and yeah, and feel free to tell me anything that inspire you on this one, or if you have any questions. And after that, we're going to do a bit of Reiki. So is there anything else you wanted to discuss today, or like, yeah, what are the things that really caught your attention today, and maybe you want to start implementing, or whatever, like freestyle, girls, go for it.
I'm definitely going to start the white light and the protecting my energy because you're completely right, or I feel like I absorb so much. Can that happen? And I also feel very, very sensitive to people's energies, their auras or energy,
Mm-mm-mm.
to the point where I am a program manager for the NHS. But quite a lot of the time, I'm actually using my intuition in understanding dynamics and relationships with people.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
And they say quite a few of my like supervisors, like the encouraging ones, say like they wouldn't the models that I've thought up, the processes I've thought up, they would never have thought of that. And they thought I was PhD, and I was like, no, I left uni like 20 years ago, not a PhD. And I'm like, oh, but I think some of that comes from just I didn't know if it comes from understanding relationships and being in so many adverse situations all my life, or that it is actually starting to actually transpire out of intuition,
I
like
think
this
it's
knowing about people and dynamics. So I'm always the one arranging like girly trips with girly events, and I can already sense dynamics and know how to mold it just quite naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a mix of everything, Trisina, like challenges, like cancer and all of this. It's you have no choice but to scan for survival. So your psychic abilities open up, and you have your own journey. But also, it's starting to see that who you are is a gift, and if you try to fit a square and in a circle, good luck with that. So you might be like the bubble and they are the square, and so that's why like sometimes like, "Ugh, it's not working, we don't understand each other." And yeah, and it's easy to find say they are narcissistic or whatever. It's like they are different, completely different frequency. And it's really starting to ask yourself, what do I need in my life? What do I need in my life? Because yeah, I mean, personally, and I'm not trying to make you leave your job, even if a lot of people are transitioning after meeting me. I can't, I wouldn't be able, even with all my tools, it will be very difficult for me to work in corporate and tech because it's too much for me. And so that's where I need to respect myself and respect my boundaries and be like, well, I am a soft energy that influence and lead with softness and intuition. And that's why also I go in companies and teach that. But working day to day, it is soul breaking for me, and it is my journey. It's not a judgment on corporate, and this is my energetic boundaries. Mm, yeah. Go for it, Paula. Use
Yeah.
your voice.
I was just gonna say, I think for me, because it's a repeated message, there's something about my authenticity again, but it's checking in with my body because I know there's times in the moment where I'm like, no, you can't say that, don't say it. But I think there'll be something about checking in with my body in the moment and challenging myself to say what actually feels right to me. And it may not land well, but I think it's more important to me not to betray myself. So even if it's taken badly, I think I need to start doing that a lot more. And like you say, it's not just me, that is generational. So maybe then it will heal some of what's
Oh,
gone
not
before
maybe.
too.
It
Definitely.
you are healing your whole generation line, and like your ancestors. I'm
Mm.
saying that psychically are very impressed and honored that you're doing this.
Yeah.
So, and remember again, it's like if people are not in your frequency, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not we can't be friends with everyone, and our goal is not to have like the whole Facebook friends. Is our goal is to step into our purpose and our light and our authenticity, and then we don't even have to do anything. It creates this beautiful impact on the world, like to go back to Tresina and Palestine,
Mm.
so many times I was also asking myself, do I need to be in the street? Do I need, But also, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying um, radiating a light of peace and love and power has a quantum effect that is sometimes even more powerful, So don't dismiss that, because there is like the energetic world, the spiritual world, and it's not because we don't see it that it doesn't exist. They did some experimentation of hundred or thousand of people meditating at the same time, and it changed things, So that's our power as well. So it's not being a coward to be like meditating on world peace and be like, oh no, I should be doing this or that, So you can do a mix of both, whatever feels is the right thing for you.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just gonna say to be
No, no, please,
fair.
please, use your voice, Paula. You're doing well.
Because I go on marches, but to be fair, not everybody can go for different reasons. And sometimes they get a bit sticky. So, but I think a lot, whenever I've seen it posted, there are always so many more people saying, I wish I could be there, but they can't because of illness or because they got kids they're looking after. But I think you're right, the energy that's being sent, because there's a people who were there at the marches, but I also think people seeing those send good energy as well. Is this making sense? So it just
Yeah,
radiates outwards.
yeah,
It's all
and
good.
exactly. And also, some people go in marches to bring a lot of violence and chaos. So
True.
it's like going back to like the basic. It's like what is energy? What is the energy? What is the
Mm,
intention? And then whatever format, whatever template you use, that it is prayer, meditation, Reiki, marching, singing, it doesn't matter. It is an energetic thing. So that's why it doesn't really matter the packaging, if I can say.
mm,
It's like Reiki, intention and action, but in different ways. It's good. It's good. It's and I've been through these same questions. And it's like questioning ourselves as well. Why do I feel so much shame? Where what do I need to prove to myself? Of like, is it like a feeling that I'm never doing enough? So it's like this questioning, and then again embracing this part of us and like, look, you're changing people's life in a way that you can't even understand, like Tresina with your intuition, and Paola with all like this beautiful voice, and everything you don't even notice, And that's why at the end of each night, each day, I like to, one of the ritual I have is I ask myself, where were the angels today? Where were the angels? And an angel can be like someone who opens the door for me, and I feel like lots of shivers. Or it can be like a friend who told me exactly what I needed. Or then I saw 1212, or, like so many things. And so it brings like my frequency high, and then it reminds me, I did enough, and I am so supported. I am so supported. And I remember we just see one part of the picture, but we can't be on the wrong path. Paula, you can't be in the wrong path. This is impossible. You just don't see the whole picture, but trust the picture is there. And again, you don't need to do it alone. If you need like a circle, if you need like someone to help you, but also remember that whatever advice or came to you is like checking with yourself. Does it feel like it's my truth? What is my truth? Sounds good. So now let's do a bit of Reiki to embody, integrate all of this. Do you both know Reiki? No?
I've never used it before. I've obviously heard about it.
No problem. So, and it's good because all people will be watching this recording. So Reiki is a universal life force energy, and it travels through time and space. So even if I'm not with you girls, you're going to feel it. And it works at a physical, emotional, spiritual level. And it helps to rebalance the energy. You know, we all have like the chakras, and let's say when we feel stuck in our life, might be like the solar chakra that is unbalanced. When we feel unsafe with our colleagues, might be the sacral, etc. So we are all aiming towards balance, because this is means energy and balance, and everything is energy. So I like to say that when I receive Reiki, the next day I'm like so productive, you know? So Paola, I know I mean, I know psychically you're very creative mind. So that's going to help you in your creation and feeling good and more flowy. And it helps to release the energy. So by the way, every Monday at 8:45 p.m. I do free online Reiki, so you don't have to pay, and it's on my website. So go, you know, it's like your little treatment every week, clearing, uplifting, putting your intention, and it helps you to manifest faster. So a lot of people ask me, how did you create this business so fast? It became profitable after 2 months, while for people it takes like 2 years. And it is Reiki. Reiki to fill me up with energy, to propel my goal, and also intuition. I know where I'm going. Spiritual life coaching, if I have like the scarcity, like, oh, it's fine, it's all good. Like, so it's like tools, but it has been super useful to me. It's super useful every day, and to hundreds of people. So let's go to Reiki, and every experience is welcome. You know, you might feel some things, you might not feel anything. It's all good. We'll talk about it. So let's choose an intention. So it can be clarity, soothing, or whatever. So let's start with Paula. What is your intention for Reiki?
I don't know if this is too big, but
No, there is nothing too big. Please
it's
get the big gun without a gun.
it's gonna be what I said before. So just, just being authentic and striving for being authentic, even when that's difficult.
Mm.
That's what it is.
This is not too big, and
Mhm.
nothing can be too big for Reiki, by the way. And Christina?
Mine is something we touched on at the start about something that you know is right and it's in your vision, but you have doubts. I know it's so right, but I can't, yeah,
So it's
getting there.
like,
I don't know, sorry if that's an intention to go ahead with what I know is right.
yes, sounds good. So close your eyes. I will be like with the hands like this. It's nothing very exciting. So on the recording, you might see me do like some crazy stuff, but you have nothing to do, to do. Close your eyes, and I will bring you back in 5 minutes. Okay. And by the way, it's 13:13. Take some deep breaths. Going back to your body. And in your own time, you can open your eyes. How was your experience, girls? Great, Paula.
Um, hold on. So I could feel it in my solar plexus.
Yeah, yeah.
And then also it's all feelings. And you know how I said before, when I feel fear, it's like my
Yeah.
hands my hairs are standing up. It's like I had a feeling going inwards from there. It felt very different, but in
Yeah,
the same kind of area. So yeah.
beautiful. And yeah, you had a lot of energy, like, stuck in the solar plexus. And it's normal, everyone has that stuff, nothing to worry about. So that's really good.
Mm.
And also know that shivers can also mean that you connect. So
Mm.
differentiate fear and shivers. Because when you were talking, I had like,
Thank you.
but it's my pleasure. What about you, Tristina?
Well, that's lovely to hear, Paula. I hope that was reassuring for you. I'm not sure if I did it right.
You don't have to do
I'm quite
anything.
visual, so and I've done several meditations in the past where I'm visualizing a journey. In terms of feeling, um, I closed my eyes. It was quite visual, like these bubbles, but they were balanced. But then I did feel like, particularly my head, I think,
Mm,
just like a heaviness, and maybe my shoulders.
yeah,
But
yeah.
again, I'm visual, so I don't know if this is right, but I just kept on visualizing this golden retriever
Golden
because
retriever. Yeah, I love it. So,
yeah, because the thing I need to step into is basically yeah, I'm just trying to. It's basically a temporary move I need to make in
mm,
order just to get a reset and peace in my marriage.
mm,
And the only the time frame I've got is the summer holiday, so it doesn't affect my son's
yeah.
school. So this gold, and I was looking at maybe pet sitting for a while, but the golden retriever. I
Wow.
don't know if I've done it right. I don't know if I've done it right.
Christina and Paola was like, what? It's like what in a good way. One Reiki, you don't do anything. You just receive. So there is no need of analytic. Put your program
I,
manager brain on hold, and like sometimes people can feel even a bit of pain. But remember, it's like clearing the pipe. So even if you felt some heaviness, it's like kind of things are going on here. And being a program manager, you're very like heady as well. So it's normal that things are going on here. And trusting the process, is a universal life force. Not everyone, and I mean, we can't comprehend like the power and the intelligence. Um, and you are very psychic. Look at all the visions you have. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And also golden retriever can be also to a symbolism of coming to your softness, like you don't need to be a tiger. You can be a beautiful golden retriever, sensitive and cuddly. um, so yeah, so honestly, girls, that was such a pleasure. You have like such a beautiful energy, and I love like this trust and everything we shared together. Um, so also on Friday at 12 p.m. there is a psychic group class if you want to come. It's £40, so it's accessible. And if you need anything, discount or whatever, you let me know. The discount I'll send you is for one-to-one. But again, for me, I want to make it accessible for you. And like this, you can train your psychic abilities. Again, remember Monday, free Reiki, etc. And I'm here for you. For me, it's all about community, listening to you, and yeah, and you see how when we share, there is such a healing aspect. So so yeah, like I let you tell me a word for closing if you like. But it's for me on at the end, it was beautiful. And thank you, for being here, because that's also why I do this job that doesn't feel like a job, because I meet people like you. So you are my gift.
I just wanted to say something. I really appreciate this. Thank you, Aud. It was lovely, and I like the Reiki. But I just wanted to say something quickly to Trisina.
Yeah, go for it, go
You,
for it, please.
you're visual, and I feel things. It doesn't mean anything that you were seeing stuff. I think everyone has things in different ways. So don't. I just wanted to reaffirm or reiterate. It doesn't mean you were doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
And that's
so
what's
much.
good. Yeah.
That's really appreciated. And Aud, again, thank you so much for offering these free spaces. I mean, not many people that I follow offer that, and to me, I feel it's really soft and it just sort of comes really selflessly from you as well. Because and then you're taking the learning, yes, but do feel that there's a huge part of you that's exceptionally selfless,
No,
and
my
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Every month, I will be doing a free webinar. And so if you have some topic that interests you, you feel free to tell me, you know. So, and there are like, yeah, there are free spaces. So on Mondays, there is also Psychic Live that Tresina joins where you can ask your questions. So I try to balance, you know, free stuff, events that are more accessible, and the sessions where you can have discounts. So it's accessible for everyone in any way. Whenever you need something, you tell me, you know, we'll make it work because, of course, it's a business and everyone has to make a living out of it.
Mm,
But for me, it's to bring this light and this love and to help you step in your power because look at how powerful and beautiful souls you are, you know. So you are here to shine.
Thank
Okay,
you. But
darling.
Paula, can I just ask, are you South London based?
Me? No, Northwest.
Oh, you're Northwest London. Okay, I
Yeah.
work in Northwest London. If you don't mind, I'd like to share on Instagram, swap Instagram with you
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you want,
yeah, that's fine. Hold on. Should I put it in the chat?
yeah, put it in the chat, girls. Put it in the
Okay.
chat.
Sorry, I don't know how it really works.
Hold on.
No worries,
I'll
and I,
send you and you can
You can
reply.
see. Uh,
There you go. That's me.
ah,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
How do I do that? Mine is. I think this is mine.
and at the end, she will follow you, or you can follow her.
Yes. Yeah, if you follow me, then I'll let you. Because,
Yeah, I'll do that.
yeah, I know. I'll accept it straight away because it's private and then
Oh,
I'll just follow you back. That's all right.
thanks, Paula.
And
That's
if you have
okay.
any questions, girls, like let me know if you need to be connected. I'm here as well. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
Thanks so
lovely.
much, Rod.
it was beautiful, and I will send you the recording as well, so you can have it. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I
All
appreciate it.
right.
That's
I'll
so
take care now. Bye.
See
Bye
you. Take care.
bye.
Bye.